I'm not gonna sit here and pretend black people never cared. We cared a lot. Honestly, too much. We bent over backwards trying to be what somebody else said was acceptable. Do this, don't do that, talk like this, dress like that, prove you belong in spaces that were never built for you in the first place.
Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood.
No longer can we just let black people be like, but slavery dough, but Jim Crow dough. You must learn how to assimilate and behave in society. And if you can't act right, there are consequences to that.
And then you guys fight all the time. So let me give you advice. Let me turn this racist stream around into something positive. Okay, black women, listen up. Listen up. A black woman is speaking.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hidrattery, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue.
You just don't like black people. And since we're taking the actions and words of one person and putting it on the entire community, y'all are responsible for the greatest atrocities in human history. So by that logic, we should all have white fatigue. We learned their language, followed their religion, straightened our hair, moved into their neighborhoods, hoping proximity would turn into respect. We fought in their wars, bled for the flags, and died for a country that didn't even see us as fully human half the time. And still, we kept trying because we believe effort meant progress. But somewhere along the way, a lot of us realized something heavy. The rules kept changing, but the outcome stays the same. That's where things changed. Not anger at first, just exhaustion. And that exhaustion didn't come from nowhere. It came from generations of watching the same cycle repeat. Every time we adjusted ourselves, they moved the goalposts. Every time we met one standard, a new one appeared right behind it. So the energy slowly changed from chasing approval to questioning why approval was even necessary in the first place.
I feel like I just have to say it, but the level of white acceptance that I am seeing from people of color that they're seeking is just like on an unreal level right now. If you haven't really heard the term white acceptance, it's more so people of color really trying to win over and gain the acceptance from white people.
There is nothing more dangerous than a black man who is willing to sacrifice their blackness to be appreciated and acknowledged by the whiteness that they crave for.
There should never be a time where we sacrifice our blackness to appease white people, or anybody else for that matter. Historically, they've never gone out of their way to try to appease us or to try to make us feel more comfortable. So why are we doing it for them? For generations, black people were told that if we just worked harder, spoke softer, stayed patient, everything would eventually balance out. So we adapted. We learned how to navigate rooms that didn't want us there. We smiled through disrespect just to keep the peace. And don't get it twisted, adaptation takes skill. We mastered code switching before people even had a word for it. We learned how to be non-threatening, how to shrink ourselves just enough to survive.
By raw numbers, the young black males in particular are an order of magnitude more violent and more likely to commit crimes than any other group in the country. Black men are 5 or 6% of the population. They commit the majority of murders in the country. That makes black males in America more dangerous than perhaps any other demographic.
A car full of black people pulled up on you by the bus stop. You turn and you walk the other way. You avoid their neighborhoods. You avoid going out on Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend at night. In certain places, when you see them, you start walking in the other direction. And we are every bit justified because we see what's going on and we don't want to die.
If we're going by that logic, then we need to get the hell away from them as soon as possible. But history kept showing us the same pattern. Whether we were good in their eyes or labeled bad, the power structure didn't change at all. The same doors stayed closed and the same resources stayed out of reach.
White people come first, understand that. Then the minorities come. Okay?
Oh, the minorities.
On that, yeah.
Oh, the minorities.
Yeah, the minority.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe nowadays we have systemic racism.
You said you don't believe systemic racism?
I do not.
At all in the U.S.?
I do not.
You don't think there's any systemic racism against African Americans in the United States?
I will say it again. I do not.
A black person experiences racism for their entire life, which is not even probably 1% of what white people experience. Black people don't even get real racism, okay? White people are the ones who experience racism. The black people get like the minute racism and they're like freaking out. White people just deal with it.
Oh man, they've successfully convinced themselves that they I can't. It starts to feel like you're running a race where the finish line moves every time you get close. And after a while, people stop running, not because they're lazy, but because they're tired of being played. And when you look closer, you realize the game was never neutral. The expectations weren't just about behavior, they were about control. So eventually, some people stopped trying to win a game that never offered equal rewards to begin with. What's crazy to see is watching other communities adopt the same racist mindset towards us without even knowing us personally. Folks that were once outsiders themselves start looking down on black people like they've got something to prove. You walk into certain spaces and feel that quiet judgment before you even speak. People already decided who you are based on narratives that were never ours to begin with. And that builds another layer of distance, because now it's not just one group holding the stereotype, it's multiple groups reinforcing the same image.
That's because you act like a nigga, B-boy. Alright? You act like a nigga, B-boy. I said to stay the f away from me. I said it!
And I won't find where you stay. You got me up. Sitting, going into a if you good. You been staring at me.
With your fake ass eyelash.
I don't
Get out of my face, you fucking nigga.
When was the last time you heard about Hispanic issues unless it was to push a narrative? Like, no one gives a fuck about Latinos. There's no Latino lives matter. All these fucking migrant children getting gang raped at the border and no one seems to fucking care because everyone's still talking about George Floyd.
So when people ask why we don't care anymore, they don't always see the weight behind that question. It's not just one experience. It's years of being misunderstood by people who never took the time to actually know you. And over time, that constant misreading of who you are creates emotional fatigue. Not loud frustration, just a slow realization that explaining yourself over and over again doesn't always change how people choose to see you. It's crazy how people just hop on white folks' racism against us because they want that proximity to whiteness and they see everybody else doing it. No thought, no loyalty, they're just blindly following what they see. At some point, history stops feeling like something you read in books and starts feeling like a pattern you're living through. Civil rights marches, integration, representation, education, every step forward came with resistance.
Crews are out here removing this 2-block long mural of Black Lives Matter Plaza out here in the streets of Washington, D.C. Nonsense here. Make America great again, getting rid of BLM Plaza.
Let's just be honest here. BLM is a racist terrorist organization.
So protesting police brutality makes it a racist terrorist organization. I'm telling you, man, they'll say anything, it don't matter. And even when progress happened, a lot of times it felt conditional. Like we were allowed to participate, but never fully share power. You start noticing that success doesn't always translate into safety or respect. You can be educated, wealthy, talented, and still walk in a room where somebody sees you as less. And that realization hits different because it tells you the problem was never just individual behavior. It was structural from the beginning. And once people understand that, the question changes from how do we prove ourselves to why are we trying to prove anything at all? It becomes less about convincing others and more about understanding the system itself, how it moves, how it responds, and why certain patterns keep repeating no matter how much progress seems to happen on the surface.
DEI is racist because the government, a lot of corporations, universities, academics, people all over the United States have dug into society and embedded this cancer everywhere. And you damn well know, if you've been a victim of it, you know what it feels like to have busted your ass and not gotten promoted or not gotten a job because you didn't meet some BS quota that had nothing to do with your skills.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this guy is a clown. White women benefit from DEI the most, even though it was meant to support underrepresented groups of people. Black people showed up for this country in ways that rarely get acknowledged properly. From battlefields to factory floors, from music to culture, from labor to innovation, we gave more than we ever got back. Our grandparents and great-grandparents fought in wars hoping it would buy dignity at home. They came back wearing uniforms and still couldn't sit at certain counters or vote without struggle. That contradiction leaves a mark because you realize loyalty doesn't always equal belonging. Sacrifice doesn't automatically turn into respect. And after generations of giving, some people just start asking a simple question. What are we doing all of this for? That question doesn't erase pride or history. It just changes how people measure fairness. It forces a deeper look at what loyalty means when it isn't fully reciprocated. Economically, socially, politically, the numbers tell a story that's hard to ignore. We hustle, we build, and we create trends that the whole world copies, yet the foundation under us still feels shaky. You see Black excellence everywhere, but you also see the gap that never fully closes.
It drives me mad when I see adverts full of Black people, full of Asian people, full of, people that basically are anything.
What's wrong with that, Sarah? What's wrong with that?
Well, it doesn't reflect our society, and I feel that your average white person, average white family is like I agree with you, Stuart, not represented anymore in TV.
There are lots of white people on television, Sarah, are there not? There are lots of white people. There are lots of white men. There are lots of white women.
This is how they act when they see other groups of people getting any sort of representation. They want to be the ones that are always centered. And when they're not, it plays into the idea in their head that things aren't fair for them anymore. Even though they control 80 to 85% of wealth in this country and still control the majority of resources. Make that make sense. Schools underfunded, neighborhoods overlooked, opportunities filtered through systems that weren't designed with us in mind. And that creates a quiet frustration, not loud anger, just a steady realization that climbing the ladder doesn't always change where the ladder is placed. People outside the community sometimes interpret that fatigue as apathy, but it's not apathy, it's awareness. It's the understanding that individual wins don't always translate into collective stability, and that realization shapes how people define success and progress moving forward. There comes a point where you sit back and really think about it. All the adapting, all the compromising, all the emotional labor just to exist in spaces that don't accept you. You start to ask yourself, if every version of us gets criticized, the quiet ones, the loud ones, the successful ones, the struggling ones, then what exactly are we trying to prove anymore? Seriously. And that question doesn't come from hate. It comes from clarity. Chasing approval can become a trap if approval was never the goal of the system in the first place. And once that thought settles in, your priorities shift. You start focusing inward instead of constantly trying to convince the world. You begin valuing peace over performance, authenticity over constant adjustment, and community over validation from people who don't like you and would never like you anyways.
What? That's fine. That's what I said.
Okay.
Nobody fucking you and ran. And that's what your problem is. You son of a bitch. Fuck you ugly.
You know what's great? You see this? You're still gonna be Black, and we're not. Make sure you tell them you're a fat. I'm still white. You're still Black.
Why do they think calling us Black is an insult? If I had the choice to come back as any race, I would choose Black every single time. I have never in my life wanted to be white, Asian, Hispanic, nothing else. Blackness all the way. When people say Black people don't care anymore, what they're really noticing is the change in energy. Less chasing validation, less trying to soften ourselves to make other people comfortable. It's not that we stop caring about life or progress. It's that we stop believing that bending ourselves over backwards will magically fix anything. A lot of us are tired of explaining pain to people that only listen halfway. Tired of being told to just be patient while watching the same patterns repeat. So the energy shifts from proving to protecting, from seeking approval survival to building community. And that can look cold from the outside, but from the inside, it's survival. It's a quieter form of self-care directed inward towards healing, growth, and protecting mental space instead of constantly negotiating acceptance. So when I say a lot of black people don't care the same way anymore, I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about letting go of the illusions. We still care about our families, our culture, our future. We still want fairness, opportunity, and respect. But many of us stop believing that acceptance comes from constantly reshaping ourselves for somebody else's comfort.
We're gonna have to admit collectively that this deep-seated need for white acceptance is anti-blackness and self-hate at its core. Y'all, we really gotta become stingy as a people. Stingy with our culture, stingy with our votes, stingy with our money, and stingy with our love. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully over these next 4 years, because we all know what's gonna happen, we will learn something. We will learn that we have to stick together because we are all we got.
Off topic, but she is very beautiful. Oh my goodness. Somebody find out if she's single. Let her know. EXO is interested, my baby. History taught us something clear. Effort alone doesn't guarantee shared power. And once you internalize that, you move differently. Maybe the real question isn't why we stop caring. Maybe it's why the care we showed for so long was never met with the same energy in return. And when you finally see that pattern, you don't become heartless. You just become honest. And honesty doesn't mean giving up. It means moving with clear eyes, stronger boundaries, and a deeper understanding of where your energy truly belongs.